This is the Selected Podcast, your backstage pass and exclusive access to some of the biggest names in the tech industry. Brought to you by Sesamers, the definitive name in tech event media.
Hi there, this is Ben from Sesamers, recording live from SIAL Paris 2024 in the SIAL Startups area. We're diving into some incredible conversations about food innovation, startups, and the future of the industry. Today, we have a really exciting guest, Mario Ubiali, founder and CEO of Thimus. We're going to explore the fascinating world of neuroscience and taste, and how our brains shape the way we experience food. Hi, Mario. How are you doing?
Hello, Ben. I'm doing fine. It's been an exciting day here. First day for me today at SIAL. There's a ton of stuff that is going on, and I had the pleasure of already getting in touch with a lot of people, but sitting down here with you, it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much for taking the time. Can you just start by telling us a little bit about your background, what you do at Thimus, what is your work about?
So my background is kind of counterintuitive to the fact that I have founded a neuroscience company because, as a matter of fact, I'm not a scientist.
Oh.
So I am a...
Let's stop all of this then.
I have a philosophy major, and I teach sustainability studies at the the Catholic University of Milan.
Okay.
But the reason why I have created Thimus is that I am an entrepreneur. So I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and prior to Thimus, I had another startup company that I created in a completely different industry, and I grew for 12 years, and then I kind of had an exit and sold it, and a friend of mine who was in psychology and neuroscience came to me and said, you know, we should do something about neuroscience. You're an entrepreneur. You know how to be innovative.
When was it?
This was 2016.
Okay.
And you know, with a very short summary, you could say I came as an investor, but I actually stayed for the passion of what we do.
Okay, that's really interesting. And it's a different path as well.
Very different. It's a very different path, and it's a path that kind of draws you in. If you look at neuroscience and food from a non-scientific point of view, from more of a philosophical point of view, it gives you a great advantage. And the advantage is you realize that food today is the battleground for many, many crucial things. So you don't need to be a scientist to want to know something more about food emotion.
How big is the company?
Company is rather small. It's a total of 12 people right now. We are based in northern Italy, but we also have offices and operations in Valencia, Spain, Wageningen, the Netherlands, and in North America.
Thank you. One of the topics of your talk today, I think, was around the importance of tradition. And in 2 days, we feel like conveniency, speed, we don't have time, we don't cook, cost as well. They take precedence over food quality and tradition. I was, curious to know more about how neuroscience is helping brands understand and reconnect people with more meaningful, culturally resonant experiences. Tell me about this. This is one of your big theses, right?
I would say to translate it into a way that our listeners can immediately understand.
Yes. Good.
When you use the word tradition, it's almost like already connected with almost like necessarily a good value. But even if you don't want to talk about a good value, tradition for the brain, remove the word tradition, you can use the word habit and memory.
Yeah.
So how we help brands in dealing with this modern tension between tradition and convenience and fast-paced lives is we essentially help them having data and better understanding the mechanism of habit. So neuroscience really helps because today we can put a number, we can measure how the brain of people interact with food from a standpoint of, oh, this is familiar to me, or I want more of this, or, hey, wait, this is too new, and I want to push away from that. And also then you can look at the mechanism through neuroscience of how what we call a sensory memory, a taste memory is built. So it has to do also with your individual story. I'm sure if I ask you, Ben, growing up, what was your favorite dish?
Yeah.
Are you still eating that dish? What memories do you have? All of that for you is not the vitamins or the minerals or the ingredients. It's your story.
Yeah.
It's an emotion. So the repetition of that emotion is habit. If you bring it to the bigger scale, it's tradition.
So from memories, you have habits. From habits, you have tradition.
Yes. And from habits, you have behavior, which brands, let's be honest, what is good sales? It's educating a human to come back for the same product.
Yeah.
It's establishing a habit.
Yeah.
So big companies come to us because they want to have more data and better understand the mechanism of cementing an emotion into a habit. And therefore, a habit becomes a behavior, which in the case of commercial applications is a purchase.
Can you give us some specific examples?
I can absolutely give you many examples, but I know that we have a limited time. The most recent example I can think of is we did a study for a very large client of ours who is doing soups. And they wanted to introduce a certain soup to a certain market and some of the ingredients were not that familiar to people in that market. So the use of neuroscience consists very practically in you have a recipe, you say, okay, I think this is the right recipe for these people in this region of the world. And then we go and we ask them to taste it, and we put an electroencephalogram on their head while they eat, so that we don't need to ask them anything, even though we do ask questions because we want to compare declarative. Yeah. But long story short, the example is you test, and it turns out that you can tell second by second at what point in the experience they're not really accepting this new recipe. And in that case, we discovered that there was a smoked ham inside. And in this culture, too much smokiness was not good. No habit. There was no habit for smokiness in soups. So we went back, and with the data, we tone it down, and then you do another trial and then another trial until you get the right recipe, right? So this is a commercial application. In a way, you could actually reverse engineer that thought and use it to, for example, to nudge people to healthier consumption of food.
I wanted to ask you this, because what I hear from all the speakers, all the conversation here at CR Paris around new food and the challenge of acceptation is that people don't change their habits, you know? And so you want people to eat less meat, and you want to educate them, but it's not, I mean, you know, it's really, I feel like I'm ignorant and just learning that we have a big claim, and then, you know, in reality, people just do what they're doing. They don't change.
And this is where I am very excited about bringing neuroscience into food and food development, because we can measure, I'm literally talking about our job.
Yeah.
We can give companies a number for the acceptance level or the rejection level and the familiarity level. So the minute you have data to actually base your choices on, I'm gonna stay with your question, Ben, with your point. The point is this: that discrepancy, that non-coherent behavior, is because the road to habit. We talked about habit behavior, right? How do you construct that? Remember, the first building blocks are the senses. I eat, I smell, I look, I eat. And the second building block is the emotion. So the chain cannot be broken. You have to have a product that is designed to be great in taste and aroma. That product is going to give you a positive emotion. That positive emotion is going to become a habit. And that habit is going to become a behavior. So the idea of converting people to eating better food, healthier food, sustainable food is absolutely valid. But they say and they don't.
Yeah.
Why they don't? There's only one reason. because it doesn't taste good.
Yeah.
Because either it doesn't taste good or it doesn't click with who they are. I think we're going to go into the age of designing food products that are more customized to different cultures and social groups. And the only reason why we haven't done that yet is because you and I are sitting here in the middle of the beating heart of the industry. This industry is not designed to be flexible and very, very fast to pivot. But it will have to do it. It will have to find a technological and supply chain way to make products that are differentiated for different humans. Because if they don't do, there's no adoption.
You position this as a competitive advantage, right, for your clients. That if they invest into neuroscience research, they get, an edge, like an advantage in this market.
There are so many levels to that. The first and simplest is you don't want to fail. My technology is a de-risking technology. If you develop a product based on data, on human preference, then you have a better chance of being successful. And then, of course, you can go more complex than that. If you collect a lot of data on human preferences in different parts of the world, which a lot of our largest customers are doing, then you become more intelligent as a company on literally how much salt is expected in a soup in East Coast of the United States versus Western Africa.
And this, for example, in the larger clients you were mentioning, are you advising them on how to conduct the research and they have the capacity to operate it?
This is a fantastic question, Ben. Yes and no. If you consider 100% of the market, the top 10% who's already working with us, these are companies that are super smart, have a ton of scientists.
That's what I imagine.
So yeah, there is a segment in the market that is very ready and it's embracing our technology. Then you have a whole other huge segment that needs more help. Not help because they're not smart, not even help because they don't have the money. They have the money and they're very smart, but they have never structured their product development in that way. So you need to be there as a partner, and we're constructing these partnerships. And then you have the last part of the market that could benefit greatly from this technology is the startups. Right here we're sitting in the startup section, and the startups, they absolutely need it, but they don't have the money, let alone the team.
They're the ones who would need it the most, in the sense that you go to market, you don't know the market yet.
Exactly. And to that, we are creating a franchising brand that is called House of Humans. We're opening with local partners in different capitals in the world, a House of Humans where a startup could go with a smaller budget, much smaller budget, and say, hey, can you test my products for me as a service? And I think that's going to be successful.
Sounds really, really promising. Coming back to what you were talking about earlier, one of the words that struck me around your research and your activities was the word nostalgia that you were using. And what I feel here is that if I want people to change their behavior and consume products that are more sustainable for this planet, I can, make them taste better, for sure. That will be the best way to do it. But maybe alternatively, I can, tap into certain emotions, such as nostalgia, that might be easier to achieve than the better taste. And this way, I get them to be greener and have a better attitude towards, what we need here.
This is 100% true. My only addition to what you just said, which is absolutely true and valid, is, easier said than done.
Yeah, well, yeah.
How do you understand the mechanism of nostalgia? So neuroscience understands the mechanism of nostalgia by investigating the brain activity in response to a very specific set of stimuli. But this is where your reference is very true. Sometimes food nostalgia is not initiated by the product is good per se. It's initiated by the context in which the product is coming at.
Or the social interactions, for example.
The social interaction. You can even play on more isolated factors. I'll give you an example. There are studies concerning the use of aroma. If you use a certain aroma in certain products, if that aroma is very familiar to a certain food culture, because the olfaction is one of the most directly connected senses to the brain, and it taps straight into the memories, you can play with that. Some other times it's color or the appearance of the actual the shape of something is something very recognizable, which could prompt me as a human to say, oh my gosh, that looks like what my grandma used to do. It has the same shape or the same color or the same smell.
Let's get it.
And it's a smart way. And honestly, usually people, when I say this, they say, oh, this is creepy because you're helping the big companies manipulating people.
There's sorry to cut you there, but there is an element of manipulation whenever we're talking about influencing the behavior based on the brain. It's done all the time. Advertisers, that's what they do. But just, here we are in this sort of gray area where brands, I'm not sure their main incentive is to sell us healthier products. It's to sell us and to get us to come back and back and back.
A couple of points on that. Absolutely valid point. I'm going to use a very stupid metaphor for this, but
we like stuff that are easy to understand.
No, but I just hope that it's kind of clear. The train of the food industry, whatever direction, whatever power it has, it's running. Whether Thimus is standing on the side of the railroad or jumping on the train. My choice as an entrepreneur has been that of, I'm going to jump on that train and I'm going to talk to the conductor. And I'm going to try to convince the conductor that there are other ways of taking the train somewhere, right? So am I going to be successful? I don't know. But how much more successful can I be if I never try to talk to the conductor? Some of my clients, they touch the lives of millions of people every day.
Yeah.
So if I could change a comma into what they do, that would have more impact than me going to a conference and being angry about the big industry, right? That doesn't make any sense. And then if you allow me, the second point, which is a little more technical, is this. Thimus does not just do commercial work. We teach neuroscience for marketing at the Bologna Business School. I teach sustainability studies at the Catholic University of Milan. We do research studies on love as a food ingredient, social impact. I think a company can have a responsible voice in generating content to promote a certain way of looking at food culture.
Tell me, when you're at an event like CR Paris, what are you looking for? What are your expectations here?
Okay, I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I'm looking for customers. So the number one thing that you look for when you're a scale-up company is, how do I expand the reach of my company? And then it's more differentiated. I gave you the simple answer, but the true answer, to be honest, is what I do is so new. What my team is doing is so deep tech that my job when I'm here is to be evangelizing about it. So what I look for when I'm at SEAL is the many more people I can talk to, and honestly, I almost don't care who they are. Just as long as I get this message spread. And this is the reason why I'm so grateful that I'm sitting right here with you now.
Tell us something that is coming up maybe in the future that is has a potential to accelerate or fast forward the research, the work you're doing. And maybe it's a technical innovation. Like I'm thinking, of course, if we start to have chip, implanted in our brains, it's going to make it easier maybe. But without going too much into dystopian futures, what are the things that are coming that you will plan to leverage to continue?
Again, I think there's a couple of answers to that. The number one answer is the answer that everybody is giving for their own industry, but it's true for ours too. And that is advanced analytics via AI.
AI, yeah.
So, we're in the business of scaling a platform that a lot of big companies are using globally. So what I see in 2025 is that we will start having such an amount of data that I think it's going to be discovery time. It's going to be interesting to be looking into, let's see what we're not seeing.
Yeah, the AI will find
possibly
in the data.
I'm happy to say, and I can say it without breaching any confidentiality, but in 5 days from now,
And so
There will be an article in Nature, the
So
magazine.
wait, 5 days from now, give us the date because we're
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
So today is, oh my gosh,
The 20th.
it's the 20th. So in 2 days from now, even better.
Okay. So 22nd of October 2024, if you're listening to this.
Exactly. On the 22nd of October, there's a magazine that is called Nature,
Yeah.
Human Behavior.
Okay.
There will be an article in that about AI and the brain, and I co-authored that article, right? So I think we're keeping an eye on how to wisely use AI. We're very aware of the dangers, pitfalls, limitations, right? So I would say two things are coming that are going to disrupt and accelerate. One is AI, for sure. The other one is more practical, but I am a great believer in this other thing. We're developing a new generation of our physical technology, the electroencephalogram, the software, that is going to be smaller, cheaper, and much more disseminated.
Now you can distribute it better and have this house of human.
Yes. So for me, the vision is in 2025, towards the end of 2025, I could see a situation where thousands of people could receive at home a kit and they could interact with their favorite brands or products and volunteer to collect data in exchange for access to research, access to self-improvement and health, and access also to incentives that might be offered by private companies saying, hey, if you want to taste my product, you'll get free product. And I think that's going to greatly accelerate.
Will you be raising funds?
We have been raising funds in the past. I'm going to say something that's going to make me very unpopular. I'm not a big fan of VCs.
Okay.
I think our model has always been a slow burn, organic growth kind of model, and VCs traditionally have a different idea. You know, we don't have the big.
They want explosive growth and
we don't have
hockey
the big
stick.
horn in the center of the forehead.
Of course.
I actually don't have anything here. So, but the thing is, let's put it that way again, without disclosing anything specific. We're in much more advanced talks with corporate partners, right? I come from traditional entrepreneurship. I really believe that building the value of we're not even a startup company anymore because we were born 8 years ago. For a scale-up company of our size that is very deep tech, the true huge revolutionary value is make partnerships. You know, shake hands and be there to do something special with the big guys, because that's going to really make your product, your technology, and your approach tested, disseminated, validated, and strong.
Where can we discover more about you? Where can we find you online with Thimus and yourself?
I think the easiest, I would suggest our website, which is www.thimus.com, Thimus.com. And of course, by name, you can look me up on LinkedIn. We also have a LinkedIn page as a company. We have a YouTube channel. Just type Thimus Neuroscience in YouTube. You'll find a lot of stuff that we've done, even TEDx videos and other ways of approaching our topic in a more conversational way. But I would say website is usually a good start.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mario, for your time.
Thank you so very much, Ben. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. We are really thrilled to discover the world of neuroscience. We're live from SIA Startups here at SIA Paris 2024. I want to say thank you to the organizers, to the SIA team, especially also our team at Sesamers, Auste, Gustav, and everybody for making this podcast possible. Don't forget to subscribe to the selected podcast for more conversations about food, startups, innovation, and many other subjects. And see you soon on Sesamers.
Bye-bye.